Hello everyone and welcome back to Analytical Amateurs, the show where a bunch of unprofessionals pretend to be professional. I'm Alcatabra, I'm Hero Galactic Blame and Triple M. Say hello guys.
What up?
What up?
And today we are here to talk about two shows. This is the first shows we have done on the podcast, I believe. But we are talking about two... Yeah, we usually do like movies and we did video games.
Oh, you're right.
Once,
We've done movie series.
Yeah.
Not shows. Yeah, you're right.
So these are our first two big shows. These shows are on... The major theme we're going for is, one is how to deconstruct a franchise, and the other is how to reconstruct a franchise. Those two shows being The Boys on Amazon Prime and The Mandalorian on Disney+. These are two big modern shows, so this is now us getting back into the swing of things since we've been kind of offshooting with what things we discuss. Now we're going to be talking about more relevant movies and shows that come out more often now. So yeah. Mandalorian Boys wrapped up relatively recently, so this should be a fun topic, I guess. Yeah, we're starting with The Boys, and I guess we'll just get into it. No real updates right now that we have to give. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, The Boys.
All right, so what do we want to talk about? Season 1 and Season 2?
Yes, we'll talk about Season 1 and 2 for both these shows. Okay. And so for The Boys, what an experience! Because this was the wake up call. I don't know about y'all. This was the wake up call I needed because I like superheroes. Who doesn't like superheroes?
I totally understand that. It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, because I love superheroes. But I'm not gonna deny that the superhero industry or field of superhero stories has become quite diluted. I was going to say diluted, but sure. I mean, if you want to
it's become so sucked that the thing most people are looking forward to the most this year is a remake of another movie. Yeah. The one that already came out.
Oh, boy.
A black and white version.
Is it really going to be... Is the Snyder Cut going to be in black and white? Is that true?
God, if it is, I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, God.
But yeah, anyways, point is, this was a breath of fresh air in the superhero medium for me because, like I said, it's become very diluted. And this show is just its own thing. It's proud and it's crazy. I don't even know where to begin with it. Basically, it's a big satire of what superheroes have become today. For starters, this story is based off of a comic book. I've only read a few issues of it.
From the early 2000s, I think.
I think so. Have y'all read
Comic sucks.
Yeah, my cousin owns
It's one of the only times that I can say I, honest to God, prefer the live action version to the source material.
Man.
I'm holding the first omnibus in my hand because I bought it. I was like, okay, show's great, comics got to be even better, right? That's how that normally works. And I read the first omnibus, and I was like, oh my God, this is awful.
Oh, wow.
It's so mean-spirited. The illustration is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's edgelord. It's like
because like the complaint a lot of people had with like this show, if anyone did have complaints about it, was like, oh my God, it's too like edgy or whatever and kind of cringy. I was like, yeah, but the comic books are like 10 times that.
The comic book is so bad. It's like there's
it did come out in the early 2000s. I mean, I'm not really that surprised.
There's a gross, gratuitous sex scene every chapter, and there's blood and gut. Okay, so the show has blood and guts, but it does it in a better way than the comic. The comic is just really bad.
The show makes it like it's kind of done for humor.
So I don't.
How ridiculous it is.
Yeah, no, this feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie in a way, where it's like they put this in the comic because they knew they could get away with it. Where Quentin Tarantino's like, I'm gonna say the N-word because I can get away with it because it's a movie, and nobody's gonna look twice because I directed a movie and I can just say it. That's so hot.
I mean, I can't vouch. Yeah, I can't vouch for the comic because I haven't read it in a while. But if that's the case, then this is one of those lightning in a bottle rare moments where the adaptation actually surpasses the original.
Although I will say, the comic did introduce me to my favorite superhero of all time. Love Sausage.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Who actually had a cameo in The Boys in season 2.
Oh.
Him and his giant elastic penis.
Yeah, I remember that.
That choked out MM.
And
Yeah.
now they changed it a bit for the show, where in the show the dick actually has a mind of its own. It's like Mr. Fantastic. In the comic, he's just a guy with a big dick. It's not even like power. He just has a big dick. If you can, but slap that bad boy up on the screen, not the penis, but like the image of him in the comic.
all right. But yeah,
I want to get demonetized.
On that note, that's kind of just where it is. I know like a lot of the people behind the show have said that they're trying to use it as a commentary source, while the comic was kind of just for fun. So that's the big difference. Other than that, this one's all for commentary and satire, which I think really works because again, the superhero industry has been diluted. So taking something crazy as this and applying it to that is actually a pretty genius idea.
Yeah, I totally like that, especially because they're like, wow, look at all these people that have powers and they're not like standard superheroes, because guess what? People are fucked up, so they're gonna do fucked up things if they actually had superpowers.
And like on that side, not only is it the heroes that are satirized, it's just kind of people in the world of superheroes in general. Like you obviously, and especially when it comes to the marketing entertainment field, obviously like the company Vought is basically an allegory for big Hollywood companies and their approach to superheroes. Like now, well, I wasn't gonna say it outright, but yes, Disney. They have Vaughtland. Yeah, they have Vaughtland, Vought Plus, all of this crazy
foreshadowing.
No, yeah, I think Vought Plus is pretty fucking on the nose.
that one.
I wonder whatever could they be referring to.
I was like Vaughtland. I was like, okay, that could be anything. Vought Plus. Okay, I know where they're going with this, but yeah. And of course, the cinematic universes. They're basically setting up all these reboots and remakes of the 7 characters. The pitch that pitch scene. This isn't season 2, but the scene where they pitched Dawn of the 7 had me rolling on the floor. I was like, that's literally just superhero cinema now. And the way the guy was just being all enthusiastic about it. But anyways, I think that this is a good way to approach the business and also the people, because obviously the reason that this business is successful is because of the people who consume it. How people feel so comfortable around superheroes, see them as celebrities, and they allow them to get away with all kinds of crazy stuff just because of how popular they are. And so it's kind of it's not going to be all like one-sided and be like, oh, business just sucks, but it's also going to point out the consumers as well. And I think that's a really good way of actually rounding out your satire. And I think a bigger satirical point is the big subplot in season 1 is the military aspect, how they're trying to get superheroes into the military, which maybe I'm reaching, but I see that as how a lot of people over exaggerate how these like mainstream monopoly entertainment industries are trying to basically take over the world. Like at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if Disney tried to get in the military. So it's kind of like a metaphor for how overzealous their reach is becoming in real life. Or maybe I'm looking too deep into that. I don't know. That's just how I took it. But yeah. I mean, we should probably actually talk about the story now.
Yeah. Let's just season 1. Because like a lot of the points you brought up, some of them were like briefly touched in season 1 and then they got really expanded on in season 2. Mm-hmm. Like I think they really expanded on like the whole public perception thing in season 2, like a lot more. So, yeah, I mean, I think because let's just talk about the story.
Yeah. I think what really works is how they manage to address the characters on both sides. Because obviously you have the team of Billy, Huey, and all them, which I guess their team is called The Boys. And you have obviously the superheroes, primarily the 7, who are an obvious allegory for the Suicide Squad. Yes, that one. No, I'm joking. They're clearly the Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyways, the 7. I think that both sides get enough development throughout the story to feel like real characters. That again, the satire isn't like one-sided.
I mean, because there's clearly like the 7, is clearly presented as like the villains of the story. But it kind of gets more complicated within season 2. I mean, also season 1 as well. But I mean, and then even the boys, like even though there are heroes, they're not at all our conventional heroes, like in any way, shape, or form. Like they've done some fucked up stuff and everything. Like Billy Butcher is like a blast to watch, but he's definitely a shitty person.
Mhm.
Like he's not really like your best. He's not like your standard leader of the group kind of thing, which is I think it was kind of interesting how they started touching on that in season 2, where they kind of were starting to make Huey almost seem like the leader of the group because he seemed
Mhm.
to like take on the whole point of it of what they were doing better because Butcher's whole thing because it's personal for everybody
Mhm.
in the group, but Butcher is like absolutely consumed by it.
Yeah.
The other guys could drop it if they really wanted to, but they keep staying on because they're making good progress.
Mhm.
But Butcher is just gonna do it till he dies. Like he's
Mhm.
gonna keep trying to go after Homelander specifically. So he's very self-destructive,
Mhm.
obviously. So I like that they and even sometimes he kind of takes on an antagonistic role sometimes because he fucks up the plans like so much
Yeah.
that he's almost like a detriment to the group sometimes. But they kind of counterbalance that with him being played by Carl Urban, so he's like just a joy to watch anyway. So it's not like annoying. So you're not annoyed with him on screen, which is really hard for people to do something like that.
Mhm.
So you're like fun. So he's like fun and everything, but you're like, damn, this guy like really needs to stop.
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of just my general
I'm
idea.
I'm actually pretty sure that the Butcher is the main bad guy after they take care of all the soups. There's 72 issues, and in
Oh.
issue 71, like Butcher goes crazy,
Oh
kills the
wow.
other three,
Oh
and then
Lord.
Huey has
Yeah,
to kill him. So
Oh
that's how that
Lord.
ends.
Okay. That sounds. I don't know if the show's gonna go
I
that route because
Yeah, I don't know
they've
if the
been
show
doing
will
their own
go that
thing.
route. Although I
yeah,
mean
they've been kind of branching off a
Mhm.
lot.
they set it up so that Butcher has some violent tendencies.
Mhm.
I do agree that he is going to probably play some bigger role because he gets more and more destructive towards the team
Mhm.
as time goes on. So who knows what they'll do for season 3? I mean, they've basically been confirmed for season 3, right? They're not
Yeah.
dropping
Yeah.
this.
Of course.
So
It's filming
I
now.
don't even need to look that up.
It's filming right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you
They just got finished doing their 2-week quarantine.
Ooh,
go. Oh,
nice.
hey,
But
there we go.
anyway, yeah.
So
But
probably 2022, hopefully.
mhm. On that note, I mean, I want to get into the 7 because I honestly really found myself intrigued by the 7 because I've seen the whole satirical deconstruction
Me
tropes over again. I'm like, oh joy, another evil Superman. You snore, but they actually did some really good work with these characters. Um,
want to talk
yeah.
about each one of them or something?
Yes, I have some notes
Or
on each of
some, or
them. I want to save
yeah,
Homelander because best for last, of course.
yes.
But
Uh,
I mean, a good place
Can
to
we talk
start.
about like the deep or something?
Oh yes, the deep story was surprisingly intriguing because I thought it was just going to be a one-off asshole or
Okay,
something.
I thought
But
they could have done a bit more with him in season 2.
oh, definitely.
They kind of fumbled that. I get like the whole like Scientology parody thing going on, but like it was kind of not really forced. I mean, at the end it tied into the plot in a way, but it kind of didn't really. It was I felt like they should have gotten him to do more stuff in season 2. Although I did like his public breakdown thing. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah, let's talk about season 1 deep because
Yeah, season 1 was
like,
probably a lot better, I'd say. Like seeing him
Yeah.
just kind of like they
a
purposely made
walking
him.
HR nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, he's basically just like completely disconnected from everything, doing wacky
Yeah.
shenanigans, like trying to save a dolphin and stuff. And I thought that was actually pretty charming. And they
He's
purposely
fucking
made
funny.
him, yeah, they purposely made him to be like because he's literally the Aquaman. Like everyone is memed how Aquaman's the useless hero, and they basically make him out to be this insecure,
Yeah.
useless hero and everything. And I like that. Even though he's obviously has his problems, like how he like harassed Starlight, you still get the feel for him, seeing how insecure he is about himself, and see him trying to actually progress to being better, which I thought was an interesting arc to do for him. But definitely he was a surprisingly comedic, charming character, despite all his faults. And he actually ended up helping out a lot at the end because, like, he indirectly like saves the day by having his fish friends get that camera footage that Maeve needs. So yeah, Deep is somehow Deep. Somehow the hero we need but don't deserve of all characters.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do some better stuff with him season 3.
Yeah, definitely. Because the whole the Church of the Collective subplot with him, I feel like they could have fleshed that out more.
I think that was definitely the weakest part of season 2 by far. But
yeah, due to how season 2 ends, I don't know how if they're going to continue that, but we'll wait and see. Either way, Maeve was a surprisingly interesting addition because in season 1 she kind of just is there with Homelander just kind of being tough, but in season 2,
but I also like that they kind of hinted at her kind of switching sides. Season 2, they definitely had like glimmers of her like regretting like the whole plane scene and everything.
Oh yes, that plane scene is like definitely like my favorite. The
scene was just so good because she definitely, you could totally tell she was totally regretting that. But like everyone's just terrified of Homelander, including her. So like she couldn't do anything. And I like that they expanded on that on season 2 and they didn't just like gloss over it or forget it or anything. I like that really played into her character in season 2. Yeah, no, I like her subplot in season 2 too about her coming out as bi, and then the way that they start marketing it.
It's like for
I thought
that was crazy.
Cool. So I'll get more to the marketing thing later because I have a specific rant.
Okay.
But I thought that was really a really cool addition.
Yeah, that was surprisingly. I don't know. It was very well done the way they did that, and it was a very nice little commentary on how Hollywood treats, the gay people and just members of the LGBTQ community in general.
Yeah, no, I really liked it too. Because of like the whole like I like the part where they were trying to get her and her girlfriend to like kind of like get her girlfriend to dress like more. Like I think more girly or something because they were like, oh, there's got to be like, there's a stereotype like one's got to be more like masculine and one's got to be more feminine.
Like being like, this is how it works for PR.
And she's like, oh yeah, you're lesbian, and she's like, they're like, no, she's like, no, I'm bi. It's like, well, that's going to be too confusing for our audiences. It's like, I thought that was really good. So really well
done. That's the thing with all the 7 members. They're all like I think. Criticisms and deconstructions of different tropes of entertainment, especially Hollywood. Maeve in particular is the person who has been basically broken down by the system. Like, she came into the system actually wanting to do good. Like that scene where she explains to Starlight how she actually broke every bone in her arm trying to save those people and everything. But her years stuck in the system have started to delude her, made her more cynical and stuff. And she doesn't want that for Starlight. So you can see her sort of indirectly trying to be sort of a role model for her, telling her to be better than she is. Other than that, we mentioned the Deep already, but Deep would have to be probably the washed-up actor type of trope.
Yes.
No pun intended, but yeah. Other than that, A-Train...
Complete with the public breakdowns and everything. A-Train was interesting.
Yeah, A-Train was a surprisingly interesting trope. I say he represents like the sort of athlete. He's basically a sports icon, like how athletes will destroy their bodies through drugs or through vigorous training to sort of stay at the top for the sake of entertainment. And they don't realize that they're doing this until it's too late because he's straight up addicted to Compound V. And it like straight up leads to him breaking his body, having to kill his own girlfriend, his brother leaves him and all this. So his life just falls apart from trying to stay in the spotlight.
I also think it's interesting because the writers probably going into it had the toughest job. If they were going to make any of the 7 members like seem, remotely sympathetic, I think he would have been the hardest because he's the one who starts the plot of the show.
Straight up kills Robin.
He's the one who fucking kills Robin. Like that's the first thing we see of him. And because we're in Huey's point of view, that's like, he is like the end game for us at that point. So I thought that they clearly did a really good job at not redeeming him really, but like being like, okay, he's, not completely, he's not evil, but he's a fucked up person.
Yeah. I think that the show in general, having read so much, sadly, of the comic, the show in general does a better job with its side characters than the comic does. Because in the comic, it's literally just about the boys. You never really get an exploration into what the Supes are thinking or why they're so fucked up It's literally just, they're fucked up, and you gotta accept that. And if you want to know more about them, then screw you, go watch the show.
Damn.
So I appreciate the show for doing that. The only one that I still really can't understand is Homelander. He's just a big baby man.
We'll get to Homelander. We'll get to Homelander.
Yeah, we'll get to Homelander. Let's see. I mean, we don't need to talk about Blackmart. Blackmore doesn't really have
Blackmore's pretty much a joke in this.
I thought it was kind of funny that Maeve was like, he's allergic to treat it. That almond joke was just really good.
There is a big plot twist coming with him.
Oh, well, I know about that. I know about that in the comics. I don't know if
there's something about that.
I hope they do it. I hope they do it like that. I really like that aspect of the comics.
But for now, he's pretty much irrelevant.
Yeah. At this point, he's just kind of there. They have some funny moments, but yeah. And Translucent, we don't really get to know him before he just straight up exploded.
I love that guy. He's my favorite.
That was a pretty good scene, though.
Yeah. Translucent doesn't even mean invisible.
Exactly.
It's permeable.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Lamplighter, even though he's already out of the team
before
the story starts, and he shows up like late into season 2, but they actually do a lot with him because he's tied to the past of the boys.
Because we already knew going into it that Lamplighter was the one that killed what was her name? The CIA lady's grandkids. Mm-hmm. I forgot her name. I'm sorry, but the CIA lady
too. I'll remember it soon. Names.
Yeah, no, they
reference that.
Yes, Mallory. Mallory.
Yeah, Mallory. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So they reference that already in season 1, and then and it's kind of really cool that they got him to work with the boys in season 2, because this is like the guy that is like the whole reason why they stopped doing this thing was because he got involved in it. And then the way that he went about that was interesting too. How he like regretted it.
Yeah, you can see him really like torn up by what he did and just trying to cover it up.
Yeah, no, because I think he didn't know the kids were there.
Yeah, he didn't know. He thought it was Mallory.
Yeah, so he felt really bad about it.
And I thought that was a cool way to show like enemies coming together to work together, despite their differences. And then he straight up kills himself in the tower. So there's that. But yeah, then the man went out on fire. So but yeah, for what it was worth, he was just kind of there. He liked to watch bad porn parodies of his friends, and then he just burned himself.
Who doesn't?
So yeah, there's that. Anyways, other than that, Starlight is the newest member, and she's obviously a major character in the story.
God, she's so cute.
Close to Huey.
I want to marry her.
Aw.
I want to marry her.
But I thought Starlight is quite literally the light in the darkness. Like, she's the one true hope, the one true hero, like, in the group. She's the young person she's a metaphor for the young, up-and-coming, like, star in the entertainment industry with bright aspirations.
Oh, star. Ha, 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 ha.
Yes. Pun entirely intended. But there's someone with bright aspirations who is aiming to do good, who hasn't been broken down yet and is trying to get through the darker world. And also, she represents the type of young person trying to define themselves. Since she's been sort of built up by her mom this whole time. Like, her mom is basically a metaphor for, I don't know what you call them, like stage moms, like the type of mom.
No, stage mom. Yeah.
She's basically a metaphor for, like, stage moms who hype up their kids.
When people put their kids in, like, those weird pageant things and dress their kids up like dolls to live vicariously through them, yes, that's her mother.
And you can see her trying to define herself. Like, she starts questioning her life, her principles, her culture, and everything. And I thought that was actually a really nice story. She was the most relatable person, like, in the cast. And she definitely helped out the boys a lot. Grew close to Huey. She just felt like, I don't know, the most character, I guess. Yeah, she's cool. Yeah. And of course, Stormfront is there. I mean, she's a literal Nazi. I don't really have much to know what to say about her. Yeah. Like,
dude,
I guess.
Hold on. Let's talk about how this show, like, messes with my bisexual senses. Like,
oh my.
you got like Jack Quaid is a cutie, but then you got Erin Moriarty, who's also a cutie, and then Stormfront's cute, but she's a Nazi, and then the guy who plays Homelander is just straight up hot. And it's like, bro, I'm not supposed to, like, fall in love with these characters. And not that way, anyway. Like, stop making me attracted to them. Hire some ugly people. Like Carl Urban. Oh my God, Carl Urban with the beard is so fine, unnecessarily fine. And then you watch Lord of the Rings, and he's clean shaven. It's like, oh, I can enjoy the movie because I'm not staring at Carl Urban.
Nice.
This is definitely Carl Urban's best work, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's been in some bad stuff, but
to play Billy Butcher. I swear.
Yeah.
No one else could do it. Yeah.
Hold on, you guys do that, and I want to look up what else Carl Urban has been in.
Oh, okay. But Stormfront. I mean, I guess she's kind of just I'm not really sure where to grasp what they were going from. I guess it works for the sense of the season since they were tackling more political themes in season 2. So you have her on the complete far end of like evil.
You're telling me you didn't like Carl Urban in his hit role as Judge Dredd in Judge Dredd?
Oh, what?
Or the Executioner in Star Wars Ragnarok?
I remember him in Thor, but
Star Trek Ragnarok. He was also in Star Trek, and then a bunch of other things that I've never heard about.
Oh Lord!
But yes, he's really hot in The Boys. I mean, he's really great in The Boys. He's great.
All right then. So Stormfront, I'm not really sure what they were going for with her, but she was someone, I guess.
She has some funny lines. I don't know. I really like the line about white genocide a lot.
That line.
There's some motherfuckers out there who actually think that. Who are like, the white people are being attacked.
And that's where like
I like the line. I like when she goes white genocide and Homelander looks at her like
Homefront, that's their ship name.
Homelander's just there what?
Whenever Homelander looked at her like that, what? It reminded me of the Community line where Britta is like, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty. And everyone's like, you can excuse racism? Homelander is like, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at telling it to my son. And we're all like, you can excuse racism.
Good one. That's a good one.
That's your line.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was a good, way. I guess what Stormfront really represented was, propaganda and the way to, radicalize and hype up the audience. Because you can see multiple scenes where Stormfront and Homelander are rallying up people for their supervillain movement. Because they're trying to... Homelander went out of his way to give other people in other countries superpowers so that they could rise up as terrorists for them to fight, or as Homelander calls them, supervillains. Because he's basically trying to sugarcoat this whole... political warfare as just a simple hero versus villains thing. That way, people appreciate
that's kind of like a parallel to the whole the military state, military industrial complex.
Yeah, there's a lot of real real life allegory things going on with this whole conflict, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And I mean, and also shows that people obviously don't agree with them. Like you have that rally against Homelander at one point because of what he did in that other country, and someone caught it on video.
Killed everybody.
But yeah, goddamn. Well, he didn't actually kill everyone.
I know. I wish he had.
It. When that happened, I straight up spit out my drink. I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess he's the villain now." But no,
I saw that. I was like, "No, this has to be a dream sequence."
I was like, "Holy Jesus!"
He's not gonna do that because, that's his whole thing. Is he's like a narcissist. He wants people to like him, so he's not gonna snap like that. At least not. Too badly.
Which I guess now we should get into Homelander then. My God, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I would put this performance up on Heath Ledger Joker tier. I absolutely adore Homelander.
I can totally understand that because oh my God, he's terrifying.
This man gives me chills every time he turns on his red eyes. You can tell
that under that smile, he is legitimately unstable.
Yeah,
it is even in season 1, you can tell that. What? Oh my God, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I've seen overpowered. Yeah, I've seen overpowered characters in all kinds of fiction. I've seen them do crazy things, and I just never care. Whenever Homelander's eyes go red, I genuinely get chills. I'm like, what is this man gonna do? Who is he gonna kill? What is he gonna do? It is honestly, this is how you craft an evil Superman archetype.
That was another thing that really threw me off was his whole thing with Madeline Stowell is that she could basically control him. I don't want to talk about the titties.
He's in love with her titties.
I don't want to talk about the tit thing.
Like a lot of people are comparing this to a real life, like him and Stillwell. A lot of people compare it. I don't remember what it's called. I did a psychology class, but I forgot what it was called.
Oh, the Oedipus complex.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
How you'll have a kid, you have a son who has a sexual attraction to their mother due to years of neglect. So Stillwell has him on this sort of parental and also sexual partner leash.
Yeah, it's weird.
He
never had a mom, and he didn't have. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
I thought that was a good change though, because if I'm correct, Stillwell is a guy in the comic, and he doesn't have any relationship with Homelander. He's just kind of his boss.
I think Stillwell. They did that with Stormfront. They gender bent.
And I felt that worked because they sort of made Stillwell into a Lois Lane for him, like the sort of human connection.
But yeah, and then like the second that because you could tell that she was the only one that was like keeping him in any way, shape or form in check. And then at the end of season 1, when he just like fucking burns her head in, I was like, oh god.
I'm like, well, we're doomed.
Where does it go from now? Like this guy is now completely unchecked at this point. So like that was like I don't think people realize like how crazy that moment was, like in terms of his character arc. Other than the fact that it's like, oh, it's a gory visual, it's like, yeah, but it's also like a very important thing is like, okay, that was the one thing that was keeping him from like not doing a bunch of like wacko stuff.
Yeah.
And he severed that connection. So yeah, that kind of like legitimately freaked me out. I was like, oh god, what is he gonna do now?
I do wish that they did kind of flesh her out more because, she just kind of dies. She has, like, a kid, and she's a single mom. I was confused because I thought, like, the dad was Homelander, which is why I was confused with her weird maternal connection with him. But it turns out it's not, just someone else's kid. And, like, after she dies, it's explained very briefly that Homelander, like, got the kid out of the house and just landed him in, a bush somewhere. So I don't really know what happened with that kid.
They probably put him orphanage or something.
Yeah, I guess he's just gone and Stillwell's out of it. For the time she was on screen, I definitely liked her as an antagonistic role. The way she utilized blackmail to sort of get her way up higher in the ranks. Yeah, but yeah, now she's gone, I guess. Now she's replaced. Now she's replaced by.
She did a really good job.
But now she's replaced by Stan Edgar as the head of Vought. Who I just realized he plays Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian, which we're gonna discuss after this.
But he also is Gus.
Oh,
from Breaking
Bad.
He's
I
Chicken
forgot about
Man.
that. I forgot about that.
That's the role that made him famous.
Yes,
that makes sense.
I mean, the second I saw him on screen, I was like, "That's Gus from Breaking Bad."
That's Chicken Man.
But
Revenge.
What an icon!
God, he's such a good actor, but he really only plays one character. But he's such a good actor.
Oh, so good.
He plays that one character very well.
But anyways, for Homelander, I think what really works about him is that his crypt, because all these super powerful Superman-like characters need a weakness, need a kryptonite. His kryptonite is nothing tangible. It's not Stillwell. It's nothing. It's his insecurities. He just simply needs
dumbass.
Oh, of course. And Zinc. You can't see through that.
Like I said before, he's a narcissist. Like he needs public attention, and he needs people to like him. And if he doesn't have attention, if people don't like him, then he goes nuts. I mean, that's what happened in of season 2. Is he went crazy because people don't like him anymore.
And I thought that works because you need a reason for why someone as powerful as Homelander wouldn't just take over the world or something. And it's because he wants people to love him. He just wants he doesn't care about power or wealth or anything. He just wants that attention. And I thought that really worked to make a character like that. Like, he's the most toxic form of celebrity. The one who must be in the limelight all the time. The one who will get away with all kinds of backhanded, horrible things that are just simply covered up. Well, I don't know if Jared Leto's committed real crimes, but I can think of better examples.
If you had told me that Jared Leto had strangled a bunch of prostitutes, I would have been like, that checks out.
Oh, Lord. I don't know.
Jared Leto, he's just Jared Leto.
Okay. Point is,
Okay, yeah, no.
that's just a reoccurring joke on this podcast now. Jared Leto. But yeah.
Jared Leto and the Zack Snyder sluts at least one time. We are
Yeah.
contractually.
But
Snyder
yeah.
bots, please.
Okay. Either way, Homelander basically is just that form of celebrity. He has all this power, but he's very insecure, needs that attention. I thought what really worked was with season 2, the introduction of his son, Ryan, how he wants to form a connection with him. And also in season 2, you actually get to understand him. And a bit in season 1 too as well. I really like the bit where he has to do the where he has to explain his origins on camera, but it's not actually the truth. Like the whole story about how he lived in a house with his loving mother and father, like that's all just made up just for the camera, and you can see that's really getting to him.
Oh, like a good American. Yeah, like their propaganda thing.
Mm-hmm. And you can like see how that really gets to him, like how he has that whole emotional breakdown because of a blanket, because he grew up it's like trapped away in a lab with people who feared him. And what's weirder is that he actually, in a way, means well for Ryan. Like, you have emotional moments where he's actually being the voice of reason for Ryan's, like, upbringing. Like, he explains to Becca that the fact that he's been lying to Ryan all his life by trapping him in this fake environment, like, he's all like, once he goes out into the real world, that's gonna fuck him up like it did me. And I'm like, wow, he actually cares about this kid. That's weird. But, yeah. And then when he takes Ryan and he explains to him what it was like for him to go into public for the first time and how he actually cried and everything, like, you really start to feel for him. And you see, and that's what a big lesson of The Boys, because I noticed...
It's a fake story, no lie.
Really? Why?
I don't know, man. I know Homelander. After having seen all of the show,
Mm-hmm.
I know the Homelander's the kind of guy who is really stupid, but really smart when he needs to be. Mm-hmm. And he will manipulate anybody into doing anything. And he'll say anything. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I feel like that could be a fake story.
It could be. I know he was definitely raised in a lab, but who knows about the emotional part?
That maybe, like, I think both of your interpretations are pretty, like, solid, but I think it's more of I think it's like he's not attached to his son himself. Like, he doesn't have an emotional attachment to him, but he has an attachment to the idea of his son.
That's a good point. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, like, in terms of, like, sorry, I had to read the script for the Great Gatsby, so I kind of have that right now.
Old sport.
In love with like the idea of being with her and not actually her. Mm-hmm. So like I'm kind of getting the similar vibe to that because Homelander is like we haven't seen any type of hint that he's actually ever legitimately cared or loved for someone. Like he's relied on people like Stowell, but clearly that wasn't a thing because he like killed her. But you know, it's I don't know. I'm just thinking that like him just having a son is like it's another way for someone to love him.
I see what you mean.
It's a form of affection and like what he's just getting from the public. Like it's like he can get a fatherly love from his son, but he doesn't actually like care about his son in the way that a father like should.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because
honestly,
because at the same time as he's trying to like emotionally sympathize with Ryan, you also see him trying to hype him up. Like he like feeds to him this idea like that they're gods and that they're better than everyone just because they're superhumans. So you can tell he's not really an ideal role model and isn't actually there to inspire him, but more so just get affection from him. Yes. What I want to point out though is that at the same time that we learn about Homelander, we also learn about the background of Butcher. And I'll come back to this later, but basically what they try to build up is that monsters don't just come out of nowhere. Maybe I'm just hyping up on this because I've been reading Attack on Titan a lot lately, and this is kind of a big theme in that. Point is, monsters don't just come out of nowhere. You can see that what drove Homelander to be the way he is obviously the fact that he was kept away in isolation, tested on, used as a weapon basically, while Butcher had a similar dark past in the fact that his father was abusive, led his brothers commit suicide, and never really looked out for him. So he became very like and even now that his father is old and decrepit, he's still being an asshole. So you can tell how Butcher became the way he is and how Homelander became the way he is. And I thought that was a very interesting aspect of their characters to go with. Yeah.
We also talk about how weird it was, like when, like how fucked up it is that when Butcher, got back with Becca again, it was like, yo, let's get out of here, and he's like, basically he was implying that he either is gonna just get rid of the kid or he's gonna kill the kid.
For real.
It was like, holy shit. I was like, you were kind of thinking it, but you were like, no, he's not gonna do that. He's not like awful. But it's like, oh, but the fact that he did that, it's kind of interesting. Like I was seeing with that specific part, like more parallels with like Homelander than anything. I was like, oh my god, this guy is literally just gonna. He was totally willing to kill this child.
Yeah, they sort of build up a whole. They sort of build up a whole two sides of the same coin thing with the two of them. Them both being sort of bad influences for the teams they lead. So who knows? With Butcher, hopefully his arc will go in a more positive light. While I imagine that Homelander will just continue to downward spiral and keep jacking off of the top of buildings. Who knows?
At least it kind of implied that it took. I mean, it took Becca to die to basically for him to be like, okay, I need to like kind of help take care of this kid because I mean, initially he saw Ryan as like, the symbolism of what took his wife away.
Yeah, like everything he hated. Just basically a Homelander too.
Symbolic thing of what drove his, what took his wife away and made him think that, and everything. But, and now that Becca is gone, and now that he kind of like realized everything later, and he kind of got a little bit attached to Ryan, is that he realizes that Ryan isn't anything like Homelander, and he is more like Becca than anything, and that he is basically the last thing that's remaining of Becca, so he cares about that, I think.
That was definitely a nice part of it.
At least I hope that's how they're going to keep going. That's what they made it seem like it. Because I think Billy, in a way, even though he is technically, on the good side, I wouldn't really say he's a great person. I think he deserves like a redemption arc similar to like some of the people in the Seven. He's so bad.
Other than that, for Homelander, you said he obviously is looking for emotional attachment from Stillwell, from the public, from all kinds of people. And and then through season 2, there's Stormfront. Like he becomes close to her simply because he needs affection. Like he doesn't really buy into her whole like Nazi propaganda, at least seemingly not. And then, but he's still with her just because he needs emotional attachment, which just shows you how desperate he is. Other than that, now he's pretty like by the end of season 2, he loses pretty much everything. Like he loses Stormfront, he loses his son. And more importantly now, Maeve has straight up blackmail on him. Like if she releases that video, he will lose the last thing he has, which is the public's respect. So he's just broken. So who knows where they're going with him in season 3. But yeah, basically behind the scenes, they're saying that he's going to be super unhinged for season 3. So I can't wait because he's an amazing character. Yeah. But yeah. That's pretty much Homelander in a nutshell. There's no other major members of the Seven. So I guess the boys themselves are an interesting ensemble. My one criticism is that I think that their past needed fleshing out. Like the past with Mallory, we only get like a handful of flashbacks to what their life was like. But yeah, I mean, just kind of wanted to know more about their past escapades as a whole.
So Frenchie. But they didn't really go a lot into like MM and stuff.
But yeah, so I mean, to start off, I guess we already covered Butcher mostly. Is there anything else to say about Butcher per se?
Other than he's a joy to watch.
Yeah.
I guess not.
I guess Frenchie and Kimiko are the next two. They have a whole subplot to get dedicated to their life. How Frenchie's trying to basically save Kimiko to make up for his past because he's haunted by what happened to Mallory's grandkids. I thought that was a nice way. Well, yeah. But that was a nice way to try to build up his character.
Frenchie's a horn dog.
Yeah. Kimiko was a joy to watch. Despite never talking, she was badass as hell. I guess she's basically like a Wolverine-esque character. But yeah, she's cool.
And then I like that she got a like her brother came back and she had like an emotional thing.
And yeah, her whole vengeance arc was a really nice thread in season 2.
I feel like they either should have. I don't know. I feel like they should have either gone more into that or not done it at all, because I think they kind of halfway went with the vengeance thing. That's just my opinion, but I see why they wanted to do that.
Other than that, there's Mama's Milk, or Mother's Milk, I guess is his nickname. MM.
What?
Is it Mama's Milk or Mother's Milk? Is it
Mother's?
Did I say? Oh, Mother's Milk.
You said Mama.
Mother's Milk.
Fucking. Damn, you
go. MM. That's his nickname. Yes.
I guess we're still on the Stillwell titty thing.
But no. Okay. He's cool. He's kind of just the voice of reason, I guess I'd say, of the group. The sort of gentle giant-esque sort of character, as he really cares for his daughter and doesn't really care about the whole criminal thing and is just trying to get by.
I like his.
But yeah, he's cool.
This is a cool graphic shirt every time.
And he likes to build dollhouses. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's basically just the boys in a nutshell. I guess, like I said, wish they fleshed out their past more. Other than that, I think that they're a cool set of protagonists with a lot going on. You can tell that even though they're supposed to be the heroes in this story, the underdogs who take out the oppressive elites, they still have baggage. They still have problems. You can tell that they're not just perfect people, and I like that. The story's not just morally black and white or anything. Yeah. Oh, Huey. How could we not talk about Huey? Huey is like Starlight for the Seven. Huey is the light in the darkness for the boys. He is the pure, nice kid stuck in amongst all the rabble-rousing. And he's cool. I like that he actually uses his brains to get out of situations. Like, he's not just dead weight who cries all the time. He actually helps out a lot. He and Starlight straight out expose Compound V to the public, and everyone congratulates him for that. Yeah, he uses his words and strategy to get himself out of a lot of situations, which I like. And
I like that they emphasize that, him being part of the group is like the whole reason why they even made progress in their like seeking vengeance thing. However long Butcher had been at it, he'd gotten nowhere. And then Butcher was like saying to Huey about his tactics, but really, Huey's ways were like the way that they needed to go.
Basically, it's all a metaphor about how like destruction and violence will get you nowhere. What you need is light to get through the darkness, not more darkness. So to fight, instead of fighting fire with fire, fight it with a goddamn fire extinguisher. And that fire extinguisher is Huey Campbell. That was a terrible metaphor. Okay, moving on. Other than that,
Monica, talk about your favorite scene.
All right, then. Yeah, no, of course.
I want to do it in a way that's like not super forced. I want to have a decent segue. Okay.
Okay, then.
Well, women.
There's your segue.
So, okay, like, what's our next section? Are we just talking about things that we liked or didn't like about it?
Yeah, I guess we can get into that. So,
okay,
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, let me start with my little rant here. So, step aside, Logan. It's my turn.
Right.
Anyway, so
I have been quiet
the whole,
this time.
So season 2, the girl power moment where Kimiko, Starlight, and then surprisingly Maeve comes in and just starts beating the shit out of Stormfront is not only a fun and hilariously satisfying scene, but the context behind it is also something like I love, because the person who wrote it was actively upset about what happened with the whole girl power thing in Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame. It was a direct response to that, fun fact. Because she felt like it was, getting cheated out of. So that was the complete response to that. And I totally agree with that, because my issue with Avengers Endgame, the Endgame and Infinity War, was I saw those moments in the theater and I actively cringed when I saw it, because nothing screams corporate marketing other than forced like wokeism in that way. Is like, oh my god, like, look, we like the females can get things done, she has her back. it's just so forced, and it's just so cringy, and it's something that no one really asked for. And it was just so, it was blatant pandering, and it just drove me nuts because I saw so many reviewers about like Avengers, and they were like, "Oh my god, this is like so progressive and it's so great." And obviously, it was pretty much all like, male reviewers that were saying this, and I was like, no, like step aside. This isn't. It's not for you. You're saying this because you're buying into what they're trying to sell you. You're trying to like make it seem like you're not sexist or whatever. So you're not sexist if you don't like it. I hate it because it's clear pandering, and it just pisses me off. So I'm really glad that this scene exists, because this is how you properly do girl power, is you just watch a bunch of girls kick the shit out of another girl.
Yeah, because there's build up to it. It has build up. There are stakes. It does have build up.
It's not just for the sake of.
There's a lot of reasons why the one in Endgame doesn't work. I mean, okay, so let's start with representation is fantastic, and we're living in a society. We live in a society. We are living in a world now where representation is becoming a bigger, better thing. And it's nice to see people from different walks of life represented in media. But what the problem is Disney hasn't done it right yet. Disney has constantly proven at every turn that they don't know how to do this. They'll market Finn as the main character in The Force Awakens, but then they'll edit him out of the poster for China. And then they'll market Onward as their first, like, oh, we got a gay character. This is our first gay character. And everyone's like, oh my god, that's actually pretty cool. A gay character in a Pixar movie. And she's got one line that can be written out of the movie, and she's not a main character.
Oh, and they did a similar thing with, Rise of the Skywalker.
That's what I was going to say. Like, next, I was going to talk about that next, how you have in the background a blink and you'll miss it shot of two women kissing that they edited out.
I actually missed it.
Out for foreign markets. Yeah. But because they don't have guts. That's what it all comes down to, is that they say they care, but they really don't.
They care about making money, and it's not going to make money in China, so they don't do it.
And the thing that doesn't upset me the most, like, it pisses me off that Disney does that, but what pisses me off more is the fact that people buy into it. Because I was like, you're the problem. I was like, you're the one who is actively, like, I get it. It's it may be initially exciting, when you see a bunch of women come on screen and be like, oh my god, all the female heroes are coming together. And out of context, that sounds like a good thing. But when you think about it in the larger picture, it's like a really big problem.
And it's just like, it doesn't work for me, because if you watch that scene, it's like there's no stakes because they're fighting a CGI army, a CGI faceless army, and those characters have never met each other before.
And Captain Marvel can kill everyone by herself.
Captain Marvel doesn't need help. Captain Marvel does not need help.
Jesus.
Like, I don't care what you say, Okoye. She doesn't need help.
Thank God Mantis is there. Oh, yeah, we needed Mantis.
But then the real
Mantis is going to save the day.
The real kicker for me about that scene is I could forgive all of it is if they didn't edit out the rest of the army in the background. Because if you look in the background behind all the women and they're lining up, everyone leaves. It's like all the men in the world were like, oh, they got this. Let's just leave. And I hate that it's like the faceless drones in the background are scared of getting canceled, so they're not going to get involved. And I hate that I'm saying this, because when I say this, I sound like one of those limp dick motherfucker who is like, raise a Mary Sue, I don't like this agenda. And it's like, no, man, that's not my problem with it. I love representation, but this isn't the way to do it.
I'm giving I officially give both of you the female card. Is that
Thank you.
No, you can have it back. The periods aren't a thing I need to know about.
I'll save mine.
I will blow a gasket. I swear to God.
Yay! Monthlies.
This pisses me off.
Good Lord.
I'll keep mine in my wallet and I'll pull it out every now and then.
There you go.
Oh, good Lord. So, I mean, for some final thoughts, I guess, to wrap up. The Boys is dark, but good dark. It is dark, but with a purpose. Because, there's a lot of edgy content out there. But most of it, kind of lacks a purpose. Or the edginess dilutes the purpose and the meaningful theme. I don't think I have to actually name what I'm talking about.
They don't take it seriously and they're self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
It's not crazy.
So yeah, definitely, if you guys haven't given it a watch, definitely give it a watch. For some other notes, I want to say that what works about the darker tone is that this is using unestablished heroes. Like, yes, this is based off of a comic book, but not many people have read the comic book, and it goes in a different direction. Compare that to a lot of other stories out there, like the DCEU or MCU or whatnot, that like to deconstruct their characters. These are already established heroes, so when you try to change them up, people will start making needless comparisons to other versions, and that sort of takes away from the point. So it's better to get more stories like Watchmen or Brightburn and The Boys that actually...
Yeah, Brightburn. Brightburn, no.
It's not
no
good.
Brightburn.
It's not good, but at least it's
Bad
new.
Brightburn.
Yeah, it's no good, but at least it's new. Point is, it's better to get new stories like that use tropes from the medium as opposed to just using the straight up characters themselves. Other than that, like I said, all around, just wish we got more development for a lot of past things. Like the character of Becca. Becca kind of just felt underutilized. I kind of forgot she was in the show halfway through season 2. I was like, oh yeah, Becca and Ryan are a thing. And then she just dies at the end, and I felt like they could have done more with her. And I don't know what they're gonna do with Ryan. We'll have to wait to see for the next season.
Way more of like a plot device.
Yeah, felt like that. I mean, she did get to do one badass thing. She stabbed Stormfront in the eye. That was pretty cool. Awesome. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, blackmail is the true hero of the story. Everyone blackmails everyone, and that's how everybody gets their way. So yeah,
I want to blackmail you guys.
That must be the most realistic part of this entire show is the fact that the reason why some people are kept in line is because of blackmail.
For real. Blackmail, the hero we need but don't deserve. I wanted to make wrote down a quick joke. Aunts don't mind you trashing their house in superhero fights. That's a joke about how Black Noir trashes Butcher's aunt's house in the show when they're fighting, and also a reference to the house fight from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in Aunt May's house. I thought that was a nice little parallel, and how neither of the ants really care that their house gets destroyed. But yeah, that's just a little joke I wrote. Other than that, we already talked about characters. We talked about development. Yeah, so like I said, it's good to have a message that will deconstruct a narrative like this while still being hopeful. And I all around just wish for the show to continue on this streak. I hope it doesn't go downhill, because, once you get a hit like this, it can go downhill easily. So I hope that the writers know what they're doing. And yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. We might have missed some things, but there you go. Any other thoughts?
I like it a lot.
I think it's great. I mean, yeah, I would say go watch it if you haven't seen it. But if you're watching this, you've gotten everything for you. So that's important.
But yeah, I mean, that's basically in a nutshell.
I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It does its job as satire. So yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Okay then. Recommendations, I guess, just to end this off. Any recommendations for media?
I just started watching Westworld. Westworld's great so far. I mean, I've gotten only 3 episodes in, so I don't know. So I'm not an expert or anything, but if you're looking for interesting,
the original Westworld movie is fantastic.
I need to watch
I love
that too.
My dad made me watch it. My dad's a huge old film buff. Speaking of relatively older films, my recommendation, I just recently started and quickly finished the search for my new number 1 favorite movie of all time, because I got tired of it being a superhero movie. If you can call Logan a superhero movie. But I got tired of Logan being my number 1 favorite movie of all time, so I went on the search to find a new one, and I found it immediately.
Oh boy.
Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese is probably my number 1 favorite movie of all time. It is fantastic. Every minute, start to finish, absolutely love it. Such a great deconstruction of the messed up psyche behind the mob era. I really like it. It's really great. It's on Netflix. The Steelbook is coming in tomorrow, I believe. Best $15 I ever spent. I would check it out for anyone who hasn't seen it.
All right, then. For me, my recommendation, since we were talking about a gritty, mature comic adaptation, I'd like to recommend another gritty, mature adaptation of a comic. It is called Happy. It is spelled Happy with an exclamation mark at the end. It is a mini-series that was on Sci-Fi, I think. Basically, it is about a washed-up detective who needs to go looking for his missing daughter, and he teams up with his daughter's imaginary friend, who's a magic little unicorn named Happy, in order to track her down. The show is whack. I don't want to get into spoilers because the show is crazy. I know everything I recommend is crazy because I like crazy stuff. But yeah.
This is an Image Comics comic.
Yes. But yeah,
this is by the same people who did Invincible and Walking Dead.
Yeah, the show is crazy.
Grant Morrison. Holy shit, what?
It is, but
okay, the third page is already fucking insane. Oh, okay, what is happening?
There you go. Like I said, it's crazy. The show is very mature, but definitely very fun in its absurdity. The message, obviously, the first season is dedicated to the whole searching for his daughter subplot. The second season goes into a more crazy magic, I'd say, subplot. I don't want to spoil anything. But all in all, definitely recommend it. Unfortunately, I believe it's been canceled prematurely, so who knows what's in store for the future.
As all good things are.
So definitely check it out if you want something gritty. It's not a superhero comic, but it's a crazy detective comic with magic elements. So check it out if you want. That is my recommendation.
I'm going to see how much this costs, because I kind of want to buy it, the comic. Comic looks interesting. Looks like a better version of The Boys from what I've seen so far. All right.
But yeah, that's about it. We will return later this month, I believe, or maybe even in a few days, to discuss The Mandalorian. Because we said we were discussing The Mandalorian. I mean, we have to. So, long story short.
For that one, due to personal principles.
Yeah. So
nerd.
We will do that.
It's not because I'm a weird Star Wars nerd.
But yeah, we will get into that shortly, sooner or later. Since this will be our first month skipping a podcast in the chain, I guess 2 podcasts a month this month will make up for it, or whatever. There's no real tradition for like monthly podcasts. I just kind of do that because why not? Point is, we will return shortly to discuss The Mandalorian. Goodbye, everyone. Happy travels.
Bye.